Warning: this video contains topics of pedophilia, grooming, emotional abuse, and other adult content. Viewer discretion is advised. Do not harass any of the people mentioned in this video. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Skelly. I wanted to sit down and make this video because there's something that's been sitting in the backlogs for way too long. And honestly, it's time to bring it to light. I don't want this information to collect dust anymore. It needs to be shared. And I feel like it's important that people hear it directly from me. Now, this might be a bit different from the usual content you see on my channel. I know most of what I make tends to be more focused on gaming stuff and funny moments, but this video is a little more serious. So I'm asking you to bear with me here. Stay patient and really listen because what I'm about to talk about is extremely important. Before we dive into anything, I just want to make one thing clear. Everything I'll be discussing took place within VRChat, Discord, and similar online spaces. Even though it all happened in virtual environments, that doesn't make it any less real or any less serious. The actions this person took, the words they said, and the harm they caused online still matter. These things have real effects and it's important to treat them with the respect and seriousness they deserve. Alright, let's get into it. Throughout this video, I'll be mentioning several individuals who are directly or indirectly involved in this situation. However, for the sake of privacy and to protect the identities of certain people, not everyone's real name will be used. Some names will be changed and given aliases I've created myself, so we can still follow the story clearly without exposing anyone unnecessarily. And to make things easier to navigate, I've broken this video down into chapters. Each segment focused on a specific person, event, or topic related to what happened. I've also added timestamps so you can skip to the parts you're most interested in or return to sections later if you need to. So with all that said, let's start from the beginning.
Chapter 1: Background.
This whole situation begins with someone you might actually recognize if you've seen some of my earlier videos. I'm talking about the person who played Marvin in both my previous VRChat videos. Someone who went by the online names of Lord X171 or Shadowhog. His real name is Andrew Lena, but for the sake of this video and to keep things short and simple, we'll refer to him as X. I first met X on VRChat about 3.5 years ago. At the time, he seemed like a chill guy who shared a lot of the same interests and joked around and quickly became friends. Things felt normal at first. Eventually, I added him on Discord, and that's where things slowly started to take a turn. Over time, our conversations began shifting into a strange and uncomfortable territory. It started when X sent me NSFW pictures and private messages, completely unprompted and for reasons I still don't fully understand. At the time, I honestly didn't realize how wrong that was. I was only 13 years old. I didn't have the awareness or maturity to understand the severity of what was happening. Because of that, I ended up sending things back, not realizing that it was truly horrible. Looking back now, I can clearly see that it was deeply inappropriate, something no adult should ever be sending to a minor, no matter the context. As time went on, things escalated further. The DMs became more and more explicit until a large portion of our messages were just stacks of adult content being exchanged back and forth. Eventually, that behavior started to fade out, but the damage had already been done. And it wasn't just that. X also had a way of influencing younger people around him, including me, to say and do things that were clearly wrong. For example, he encouraged and even normalized the use of racial slurs like the N-word. Despite not being black himself, he stated multiple times that he's Latino and white, meaning he's mixed. But that doesn't make it okay for him or anyone to use that word. These small moments, the inappropriate messages, the normalization of harmful language were just the beginning. Over time, they painted a much clearer picture of who X really was and how he operated in online messages and spaces. And while he wasn't the only one involved in what eventually unfolded, he was absolutely the central figure. The one who chose actions, set everything in motion. Later in this video, I'll also be bringing up a few other people who have sided with him or played smaller roles in this situation. They each had their own part to play, but for now, let's focus on X. He's the main person that this story revolves around.
Chapter 2: Relationships and Manipulation.
This next part is going to dive a little deeper into what actually happened behind the scenes. Specifically, how this person treated the people around him that he considered closest to him. It's not easy to talk about this, and it might be uncomfortable for some, but it's a really important, bigger piece of the picture. To give more detailed and personal insight into everything, I won't just be explaining things from myself. Instead, I'll be including the voices of people who actually experienced it firsthand. And this includes one of his former girlfriends, as well as his ex-best friend, both of whom were directly affected by his actions. Rather than just summarizing what they went through, I want to let them speak for themselves. I believe it's crucial to hear their side in their own words, because these kinds of situations can often get twisted or minimized when retold by someone on the outside. I sat down with them for a VRChat interview where they shared what they went through, how it impacted them, and how things eventually unfolded. With their permission, I'll be playing both these clips for you in this chapter. The clips will be played in chronological order, starting with his ex-best friend's story, and then moving on to his ex-girlfriend's account. I want to emphasize that their stories are personal, and sharing them takes a lot of courage. So, as you are listening, please keep in mind and treat their words with respect. This part isn't about drama or pointing fingers for the sake of spectacle. It's about shedding light on a pattern of manipulation and control that affected real people, and the best way to understand that is to hear from those who lived through it. So with that said, let's play the footage. Tell me about your experience with X and the way he treated you overall, please.
Well, when a long time ago, it wasn't that bad. It until he just slowly started obsessing over me. Uh, like even if he had girlfriends or stuff like that, we when sometimes when me and him would hang out, um, he'd be extremely inappropriate in a form of sense that he would still tell me he really loved me, and I would tell him, dude, don't, no, I don't like you like that. I'm never gonna like you like that. I see you just as a friend. Um, I know back then, uh, since I was like little, I used to be a yes person. I would even do things like for him, even if like he even if I didn't want to technically, um
Yeah.
which was super uncomfortable to do, until one day I was just fed up and started like pointing out the shit he does, and that's when we slowly started having arguments like nonstop, to the point that um it was it was like out of the blue, sometimes random, and uh I'm pretty sure it got annoying to like some of the people in the group. because sometimes we would argue when everybody was there. Um,
Yeah.
because I disagreed.
I believe I was definitely like there for a few of those.
Yeah, you were. Uh, Half of the time I was disagreeing with him. Um, and because I was disagreeing with him, and because we both have a different mindset, it kind of just kept evolving to arguments, and sometimes it would get to a point where, for example, one day he told me he was like that I was hurting him every day, and I I was stunned by that because I I never intend to hurt anybody or make them feel horrible. And if I do, you must have done something horrendous to me for me to like absolutely hate you and make your life a living hell. Um,
Yeah.
but like I was stunned by that because keeping in mind the fact that he was my friend for like 6 years, and he knew me like the back of his hand, and I knew him like the back of mine. Um, and he just randomly said that to me, and I was like, okay, so if I'm the problem, then I should leave. I just saw it as another argument. Um,
Okay,
the
fair
only
enough.
times he's genuinely manipulated me was when he lied, um, and made somebody lie about like their age to get a model from me, and him fully admitting that he used me. Um, and like that's where I snapped and shit, and I was tweaking bad. I was telling him, bro, why would you use me? You know how I have been used once before or multiple times, and I just cannot. Somebody who has been my friend for 6 years fully admitting that they've used me is just like insane, because I deemed him my best friend in the whole entire world. Like I tell you that, personally speaking, I've never met or ever had a friend like him ever. Like my friendship with him felt extremely unique. Like I don't know like why, but hanging out with him, it always felt different. It felt like my days weren't boring. Like I wasn't sitting in a room doing nothing because he was constantly spamming my DMs, telling me that he wanted to hang out. And like, yeah, it's just hearing that from a friend of yours, telling you that they used you and they just wanted something out of you. And this also adds on to when I I did make him one model for like a last goodbye, he had stated that I didn't care about the friendship, that I I just did not care. And I I feel horrible because it's like all the times I've felt the need to puke because I was defending him, because my friends would yell at me constantly. So, no, yeah. I always felt like puking, and like the feeling of your stomach just crushing in on itself. Uh, like the anxiety was just too much to the point that you physically want to puke. And that was practically almost every time I tried to like tell my friends, "Oh, he's he. That's just how he is. That's just how he jokes around." Or like, it is his humor. His humor's really different, like hella different. And like my friends would somewhat let it slide. Not really. A lot of the other few would like just um be still pissed off as hell and practically ban him from their server even though he was never in it. They would blacklist him. Um and what's it called? And I technically would just try so hard for making like some form of excuse just for my friends to not be mad as hell with him, but also like because I just didn't want to constantly have a banter or an argument with my friends, and me just trying to like excuse him being either just really rude or as he is supposedly like quote unquote really honest to the point that it feels rude, or just like is plain out rude. And the thing that I hate is that when I was talking to him like one last time, he was like telling the people that did stay like that they're so glad that they stayed, and that they're so glad that somebody stuck around and didn't leave. And like I felt so targeted when he said that. And he did beg me to stay the first time I left, or the final time I left. He did beg me to stay, but he he kind of phrased his words when we last talked that like as if he didn't really care like about me because we're no longer friends. So it's like why should I care about how you feel? I don't I don't think he exactly said that, but that's kind of how it felt practically.
I
And
understand.
it's just like I it felt like everything I tried to do for him, everything that I believed was right, like as in protecting him in some form of sense wise, just feels like it went down the drain. Like I just wasn't enough because I couldn't do anything, because what happened happened and I just can't do anything. And it felt like everything I did for him, even if, like, even if I cried mainly half of the time, even if, yeah, we argued, I still cared. Like, I'm not heartless. I may be mad at somebody, but it doesn't mean I don't care.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I've had the same thing for a while with him too before I inevitably left.
Yeah. And it's just like, it just, again, everything I did for him, it felt like I just wasted so much. And it felt like I did everything for nothing. And I just, I technically can't stand that those words of, oh, you didn't try hard enough, or oh, you don't really, you never cared about the friendship genuinely. Just it it like tortures me in a sense. It makes me so angry and frustrated because I was there with him practically almost all the time when I could be, when sometimes when he asked me, when he felt sad and upset, and like I would talk to him. I would comfort him when he needed someone to listen. And it felt like everything I did was for nothing. And it's just I I don't I don't understand. I don't think I ever will understand if there is, like, if somebody tries to make me understand it technically. I don't think I ever will understand because, like I said, it's like all the hard work went down the drain, and when I stopped talking to him, it felt like all my days just felt boring. Like I had nothing to do, and if I try to talk to people or something, it just feels really awkward. And that's kind of why I'm trying to put myself out there and just talk to people, because I want to make some friends or something. But technically, my friendship with him was different to me. Technically, like I said, it felt unique. It felt different, like a type of different that you've never seen or experienced before.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like the type of different that your days don't feel boring. Your days feel interesting. It feels fun. It feels like you're doing something, and you're not waiting for like the day to pass until you have to fall asleep again. It was fun. It was so fun and like entertaining, and the fact that you could laugh genuinely sometimes instead of giving an awkward fake laugh.
yeah, I understand that feeling. It took me a while to, well, adjust and get used to it when I left as well.
Yeah, like sometimes because of that, like wanting to feel that feeling again, sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, bro, I gotta set up an event or something where everybody joins and has like fun, have a whole server full of people on a call or in a or in like the game itself. I don't know, just thought, but
Yeah.
but yeah, technically, I I sometimes think to myself and I'm like, I I wish from like the bottom of my heart, everything. I just wish he didn't do the things he did, and like so we can like still be friends. So I can just still be his friend without all the shit he did,
Yeah, I
technically.
completely understand. I had that feeling too as well when, you know, everything went down and all, but I knew this decision was going to be for the better and just in general be better for my mental health.
Yeah, I get you. But no, yeah, that's technically how I would say in short term without any full detail how the friendship genuinely was.
What was your experience dating X and overall just being with him?
I my first I was young, you know. I remember first ever meeting him back when I was like, God, I don't remember what age I was. Maybe I was 14 or not. I don't know. Somewhere within that age. I I was young. I didn't have much of any love life, and I desperately wanted to feel actual love. And this is back when I dated this one dude, and I felt so horrible. I felt so horrible because this one dude came up to me. He confessed his feelings to me, and I didn't want to hurt him or break his heart, so I just said, "Yeah, I love you too." And X was helping me get out of that. I thought he was a good person. I thought he was here, you know, like kind, caring. He even told me before that I don't want to make it feel like I'm making you break up with him just so that you can get with me, you know, like I don't want that. And I'm like, yeah, no, I understand. So obvious things. I didn't know the whole story with him and everyone. And so then we got together, some shit hit the fan. XD came in and shit, blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada, yada. We're gonna skip that whole part. So, just the gist of it is XD is a horrible person. He has done horrible things to me. And I even told X about the things he's done to me. And he, at first, he showed concern. He was like, oh, damn, okay. And then all of a sudden, I see him friending him again. He has him friended again. And I'm like, what the fuck? After everything I fucking told you he's done to me, you're still friends with him? I don't remember the fucking excuse he made, but it was horrible. It was fucked up excuse. Just some random fucking shit like oh blah 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 or some shit. I don't remember what it was, and I'm not gonna say stuff to fill it in, knowing that it's not true. All I know is that all I remember is that he fronted him back through all the shit I told him he did to me. And this is like emotionally controlling me with the thoughts of like him committing self-harm and unaliving himself just so that I can be with him, which is XD I'm talking about. I told him everything XD did to me, and X still confronted him. I think that was the first true crack I saw. And then he
Yeah.
ended up yeah. And then he ended up cheating on me with this girl named Ruby, which is way younger than him. I I didn't even think of it that way. I how I don't fucking know. I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of, oh my god, wait, he's like way younger. Like she's like way younger than I didn't see it. I am after he uh cheated on me the first time, he was crying from explaining it to me. So obviously I felt like the one that had to comfort him through it.
Yeah.
He was and he said he was scared of losing me over this and shit. And I just want to explain something. When I was younger, I was such a people pleaser. I didn't want anyone to feel hurt. I didn't want anyone to be in awe. I didn't like, and I've dealt with suicide in my life, so like the whole XD thing broke me down even more through that. And I was a people pleaser. I didn't want people to be hurt, and I didn't want to hurt anyone. So obviously, within my mindset, I was like, "Oh no, it's okay. I still love you. It's okay, hon." And it's fucked up. But after all that, it's every time I'd ever disagree with him on something, he would like say, "Well, you're wrong on that." Like it's like if like mm, um for example, uh like, "Oh, I said oh man, I hate this." He'd look at me and be like, "Well, you shouldn't. It's cool. I mean, like
Always
it's even
like give
better."
like deconstructive criticism to your opinions and always say how his are
Yeah.
always way better.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, maybe they are, maybe it is it's actually good." Whenever I said I'd love something or I'd be like, "Oh my god, I fucking love this," he'd be like, "Oh, you shouldn't. It's horrible. It's stupid," And he'd just laugh it off and be like, "You shouldn't fucking love that." I'd be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I guess you're right. There's some shitty things in that." Like even the little shit that he did to me still sticks with me.
It's like that trauma that like is still there even if you don't realize it. It's like
Yeah,
embedded into you.
dude, I ended up crying, man. He's influenced my life that fucking much. I shared so much with him. I tried my very best with everything. I tried as much as we could for like, the long distance. And it for fuck's sake, he told me blunt, our relationship's getting pretty boring. It's like boring. I'm like, hurt me. Like I tried so much to like bring
Like put a lot of
everything,
effort into everything and such.
I put so much effort, more effort than he's ever fucking done. God's sakes, couldn't even remember my fucking birthday. And I remember like the day we got together, his birthday, blah blah blah. He wouldn't even fucking remember the simplest like my fucking birthday. Every year I'd have to remind him. I'd be like, "So guess what's coming up soon?" He's like, "Oh shit, wait. What day's your birthday?" Well, like he'd be like, "I wouldn't have no fucking clue." And I'd be like, my birthday. Did you forget again?" I felt like he just didn't care enough. I felt like, and I still didn't look past it because I thought, oh well, you know what? Maybe he has memory issues or some shit. And oh my god, one of the many things, the most important things about this relationship that I was in was just he was pure horniness. Like he was pure sex drive. I'd be influenced to say horrible things, and think that it's all just a joke. I'd be influenced to do such shitty things. I, dude, every fucking time you would feel horny, you'd pull out a fucking avatar with a virtual penis and smack it in my face and fucking like do that. I'd be
And
like,
even
"Oh,
sadly have the nerve to do that in front of other people.
yes." He even at one point in front of John, this is like back when we figured out that he cheated on me a second fucking time, like telling me in one world, "Hey, so I guess what we did, like." oh yeah, me and this person and that person fucked, and I'm like, oh, well I didn't get to watch it, because I figured it was a joke and shit. I took it as a joke. I didn't fully consider it. Yeah, and he was dead serious about it. And I like the realization, I was like, oh my fucking god, wait. No, that's not okay. What the fuck? It's just ugh. And like just zero like he would cheat on me and I didn't think at the time I should break up with him. I mean, I thought that multiple times, but it was like I was in the state where I thought if I broke up with him, all my friends are connected to him. So if I broke up with him, it'd make everything awkward and just horrible. And I don't want to have to go through that. Maybe it would be better to just suck it up and deal with it. Maybe that would be a better life than like having to go through the horrible pain of breaking up and having to go through all of that. I was in a horrible state of mind and thought. I felt stuck when I wasn't. I was blinded by the front door that was open for me. I kept running into walls because I was blinded. I and I won't like sugarcoat myself within this. I was a fucking idiot within it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I didn't know, because it was so obvious so many times where I could have known. I was just truly blinded, the best way I can put it.
I
It
know,
was
and
just
I've even seen myself when you try to confront him about stuff like, for example, cheating or just the bad decisions he'd make. I could just tell you wouldn't ever really fully able to bring yourself to do that without like assistance from us.
dude, I was scared. I'd scared he'd yell at me. I was scared that he'd break up with me. I was scared that he would pull that. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't. I was worried. It was such a horrible relationship, you know, like fearing the other person into staying, type shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucking horrible. I dude, I remember how I would like skip meals because like he doesn't like fat people. So like I always thought, oh, this chub in my stomach, that's not good. I'd always skip meals, because I wanted to be the perfect image for him.
Practically
That
like
every time,
starve yourself, like to lose weight for him.
like I don't know if I told him I did that. Maybe I did at some point. I don't remember if I even told him I did that. I felt pressure to be this perfect image for someone that didn't even care in the first place. I have gum in my mouth, so if it sounds like I'm doing that, that's why.
No, you're fine. That's okay.
It's just so fucked up. No one deserves to go through it. And like, even if I wasn't horny and shit, I'd still like go through with like the virtual European with him, and shit, because I was scared he'd cheat on me again. Even if I wasn't in the mood, I'd still go on call and do sexual shit with him.
Because you were like conditioned to do it at that time. Like the fear of him just cheating
I
again was too much like for you.
I would stand naked in front of a camera posing and shaking my ass for him for like what felt like hours. Just so that he could like finish and shit. Dude, it was ugh. And I don't doubt that I told him to do some stuff too, because like I know like I said, I was influenced. Hey, since he's telling me to do this stuff, it's okay. Maybe I'll tell him to do some stuff, because like blah blah blah. So if he tries to fucking pull that card where, well, she told me to do this shit too, that's why. I just, I don't know. I remember at the time he like did a poly relationship, even though I wasn't comfortable with it. I sucked it up because, I wanted him to be happy. But it was basically him cheating at that point, but with me holding my tongue down about it. I was not comfortable with it. And every time, like, he'd, like, be loving up on that dude, and I'd just be standing there awkward, like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
That's just actually awful.
I remember so many times he'd be like so sexual with other people, and I'd just be like, oh, haha, yeah, funny. So every time I talked to him about something, he'd argue with me. And it would always end up in the I'm right, you're wrong, you're delusional. Just stick to my side and we'll all be happy type of
Even
thing.
when both of you broke up, like we're in the middle of a breakup, he tried to arguing about it.
Yeah. It's it's stupid, you know? And I uh, it's just so much emotional abuse, and I was used in a way for pleasure for him. My body was used for his arousal, that type of thing. Oh my god, wait, dude, like, he wouldn't be all lovey-dovey on me. The only times he'd really be really lovey-dovey on me is when we're doing, like, ERPing and shit. Otherwise, he'd just be like, "Oh, yeah, I love you too, hon," "Yeah, yeah." Most of what I'm used to, it still sticks to me. I was with him for, like, almost, like, 3 years at that point, and I was young. I was emotionally fucked because of XD. Hung on to him. I After everything, I was used by both of those people, XD and X. And I believe everyone can change, but I tried giving XD fucking 3 times, and each time he tried getting in my fucking pants. And it's fucked up. You put so much trust into someone that you considered as a loved one, and he end up doing that shit to you. I was morphed into like what he wanted. When I finally got the courage to tell him to fuck off and I left him, dude, it felt so weird finally being free of that. I mean, and then like I feel like the hardest part about breaking up with him wasn't the fact of being not with him. It was the fact of, you guys still kind of hung out with him. So like I didn't get to hang out with any of you guys. And I never got to hang out with any of you guys. I remember, I remember this one time I was in call with my boyfriend now. And I was on a call with my current partner. And I was like, I was crying. I was breaking down because I felt betrayed by you guys. I felt, I don't know if I told you this yet, but I was on call with him. I was talking about, I can't believe that you guys were still hanging out with him through all this shit. And I felt so fucking betrayed and felt like I didn't, like my story didn't matter within the part of you guys leaving him, and wondering if I was like truly like a friend in your guys' eyes. I felt so betrayed in that way. I just teared up and started yelling fuck like that, like fuck you guys, like you guys are fucking assholes, selfish selfish pieces of shit.
Yeah,
I started screaming,
a
I was
lot of
like, why
people
the
were manipulated into staying and being by his side.
I felt
Couldn't.
so betrayed because I wanted to hang out with you guys again. You guys were like my family, and I felt like you guys didn't think of that as like me anymore. Because I felt like if you truly thought of me as family, you'd leave him too. Because It was just fucking horrible. My current partner, encouraged me to just yell out what I'm thinking. I just started spouting out, fuck them, selfish pieces of shit, assholes.
Yeah, no, I completely understand.
I felt it was just horrible.
Would you like to stop it right here, or is there still anything you'd like to say?
If the ex is watching this, I just want to let him know that he is the worst person that I have ever met and ever had the misfortune of trusting and putting my hopes into. I truly hope that at some point you find something within your sad, pathetic fucking life to change. But by that time, I feel like you're gonna be rotting in fucking jail.
All right.
I used to love you, and now I feel the opposite right now.
To sum everything up from both of these clips, it's painfully clear what kind of person X really is. The stories you just heard highlight a consistent pattern of manipulation, control, and emotional exploitation. X has shown that he uses the people closest to him, especially his partners, not as equals or companions, but as tools to satisfy his own personal desires and gain. Actively cheating on his partner, betraying their trust, making them afraid that he'd cheat again if they weren't appealing enough. What's even more disturbing is how calculated this behavior seems to be. He knows exactly how to gain someone's trust, how to make them feel safe, and then twist that trust into something toxic and self-serving. The emotional damage he's caused isn't something that just disappears overnight. It leaves scars, and those scars matter. Hearing these first-hand accounts should serve as a reminder that manipulation doesn't always look obvious. It can hide behind kindness, humor, or even affection until it becomes something deeply harmful. In short, X's actions were not only inappropriate, they were predatory, deceitful, and deeply disrespectful to the people who cared most about him. No one deserves to be treated that way, online or offline.
Chapter 3: Predatory Behavior.
It wasn't just that X was disrespectful towards his friends and partners. His actions went far beyond that. Over time, it became clear that he had a pattern of predatory behavior, targeting younger and more vulnerable individuals. He built trust slowly, using emotional manipulation and false affection to blur boundaries that should never have been crossed. Once he gained someone's trust, he twisted it to serve his own purposes, taking advantage of their vulnerability, making one of his victims expose their body on camera. X also worked to keep control by convincing those he manipulated to stay silent, isolating them from friends and anyone who might have helped. He made himself seem like the only person they could rely on, which kept his victims trapped and afraid to speak out. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a deliberate pattern of control, manipulation, and emotional exploitation. What he did caused real harm, and it's important to bring it to light so others can recognize and protect themselves from similar behavior. It is, of course, important for me to speak out and say he's also done this type of sexual acts with me and another minor on VRChat, specifically in 2023 to very early 2024, playing it off as a joke at first, and then slowly turning it into actual ERP sessions, later on accusing me of entrapping him.
So, hey guys, Lucy here. I was going to voice act some of the screenshots because it's all voice acted, but when Skelly sent me the screenshots, I was so appalled and I didn't want to voice act it because I was so disgusted with how he is. So, yeah. Bye-bye.
Chapter 4: Fallout and Aftermath.
After a lot of disrespect and arguments, I finally decided to leave on my own accord with a message that read as so.
This has been a topic of major discussion for quite some time. I'm of course referring to allegations thrown at Lord X. These are allegations of pedophilia, grooming, emotional abuse, manipulation, cheating, sex in front of minors. He's done most of this with his prior relationships such as the more well-known Hannah, but also he's also done these things to people we know me, groomed me as well as had sex with me as I was a minor and currently am as well as another minor being there at that time. Ruby, someone who used to be here, uni, maggot, Gestar, act, someone be named for their privacy due to these reasons as well as seeing friends here mental state decline just as much as I have. I am choosing to remove myself from all contact with X and this server permanently. If you choose to leave or stay, that is up to you, though I think that you should leave for your own safety. I genuinely hope the best for all of you. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend. The screenshots provided are proof to him being a pedophile. As for the cheating, there was a situation involving a certain user who found out about the cheating, which is why the first situation even happened, though there was more to it, especially when it came to the manipulation and emotional abuse, which caused this person to meet their wits' end, with this person's mental state declining, everyone pushing them to leave. That whole situation blew up, with people inevitably coming back. I don't expect everyone to leave X, that's too easy, but just know you're just as bad as him, giving him no consequences for his actions, enabling him, and by choosing to stay you're just as bad as he is, if not more so.
After leaving, I already planned to make this video with all the evidence provided, but then he started freaking out and made a whole announcement in his Discord server that just said,
I'm truly panicking about Skelly making a fucking video on me because 1. He has my IRL little brother's information and can send this to him too. He has my IRL face and name, not to mention Gestar is friends with popular people. 3. If this video actually goes up and gets somewhere, I'm quitting the internet. I'll be on Discord rarely and VRChat not again. I'm sick of this bullshit old ass drama that has gone nowhere with someone who literally admitted to using people for sex and his age as a defense mechanism. I truly don't understand why he wants to kick me down even though he already got what he wanted. Skelly is by far the most infuriating person now, and I hope nothing but the worst for him.
It was kinda sad to read, but either way, I kept up production. Although a week afterwards, he backpedaled on his statement by saying this.
Oh, no more about Skelly. I understand he is like mentally draining everybody, especially me, but all we can do is move on. If he makes a video about me, we can make one back on him. But I want nothing to do with him or any of the drama anymore, okay? I'm just trying to live my life at this point. The Skelly video, I won't be surprised if he calls out every single one of us, but don't worry or panic or leave, it's gonna be okay. We have way more on him than he does on us, so if anything we can make our own video against him. So if this video comes out and he mentions everyone, do not worry or leave. It's alright.
There is a reason why he said, we have more on him than he has on us. I myself have done a few things that I will debunk and compare to his own actions, presumed to be related to the sexual act that X did with me and the other minor.
He basically entraps people. Adults.
The ethical responsibility always lies with the adults. A 15 to 16-year-old is still considered a child, someone who isn't fully capable of understanding these situations and so on. Adults, on the other hand, are expected to recognize these scenarios and protect minors from scenes like that. Blaming a teenager for entrapping flips the moral balance upside down. It excuses the adults who should have been responsible and shifts the fault onto a minor who is too young to carry that responsibility.
He's going to keep pushing, because the cravings are stronger than the willingness to think. Based on what he chooses, he likes playing victim, even before wanting to make people look bad. He makes up his own evidence based on what he wants first. He will make multiple accounts on X and Discord to see who's talking about him as well, depending on the sketch.
This person claims that I've been making alt accounts to stalk and gather false information and evidence, but that is not true. While I do possess one alternative account, it is strictly a personal and failsafe account in case the main one gets terminated. Everything that has been shown comes straight from old messages or people who had their own experiences. I can say with 100% certainty that I would never bring false evidence to the table before fact-checking it. Back to the message X sent that included him panicking about this video's creation. Specifically, when he said, when X said, and I quote, using people for sex and his age as a defense mechanism, he is referring to the time me and the person that was 18 hooked up as a mutual thing. I wasn't all that aware of the age gap and severity of that situation until a few weeks later, after breaking with that person. I never used my age as a defense mechanism, I only stated the fact I was underage, never outright using it to defend myself. This topic is going to be the most transparent I will ever be to the public about my personal life. So let's get it over with and read this one out before getting to the comparison.
He's a disgrace of a man. He beats his own mother, the same woman who had him in her body for 9 months straight and had her body torn just for him to not even appreciate her for what she did. I don't care about the but she abandoned me for drugs. It still doesn't matter. That woman had given you life and you choose to hate her is horrible. Who beats their own mother? I've never heard of a person who does that, and for fun? Disgusting human being. I've honestly never been more disgusted with someone in my whole life.
I've never been a violent person. My mother and I weren't always this distant. When my grandma and grandpa died, aka her parents, it broke her completely. And it caused her to use a lot of substances and made her a completely different person. She always promised stuff and never went back on it, or steal money and lie about it outright. This situation caused me to get more and more stressed over time to the point where I swung at her a few times. I truly regret doing this and never took any joy or pleasure out of it at all. I spent a while crying myself to sleep from doing this. I did resent her for a while, and still at the time of writing this, I don't want anything to do with her. This is as deep as I will go into my personal life. I still wanted to mention this in fear that it will be used against me in any way, shape, or form by them. Adding on to this, I take full accountability for my actions regarding this situation. I refuse to excuse myself in the matter. It's never okay to hit someone regardless of what they've done, especially your family. The accusations thrown at me were baseless and conjecture, and in a nutshell, can't even come close to the things X has done.
Chapter 5. Conclusion.
To sum everything up, this entire situation shows just how far X's behavior has gone from manipulation and control to outright disrespect and predatory actions. He's hurt friends, partners, and even younger individuals who's trusted him, leaving behind a trail of emotional damage. What makes this so severe isn't just the actions themselves, but the pattern of the repeated choices to exploit, manipulate, and disregard others without a sign of remorse. It's a clear example of how dangerous unchecked behavior can become when people stay silent or look the other way. I made this video not out of anger or to create drama, but because this kind of behavior needs to be exposed and understood. People deserve to know the truth, and those affected deserve to be heard. If sharing this helps even one person recognize those signs of manipulation, or even stand up against it, then it's worth it in my book. At the end of the day, respect, empathy, and accountability matter, both online and offline. And no matter what platform it happens on, the harm caused by someone's actions is real. As for my own thoughts on the matter, don't make a video just to accuse the messenger. That isn't how it works.